Hey everybody, Attorney Somm here. Welcome back. Recently I've done some videos in which I've identified my favorite wines at either $100 a bottle or $50 a bottle. Those videos were well received, but now I've been getting requests to identify some of my favorites at a lower price point. So today I'm going to be identifying 10 of my favorite wines at $25 or less per bottle. And if you stick around until the end, I'll even include a bonus wine, an 11th wine, that costs only $12 to $15 and which is also highly regarded. The fact that these wines are $25 or less does not mean that every single store will sell them for that price. However, it does mean that I was able to find them readily for that amount. So be sure to do some searching and shop around. You can always check winesearcher.com to find a retailer near you or to identify a retailer that will ship to your location. My first favorite wine at the $25 price point is the VIETTI Barbera d'Asti Treviño. This is a wine that you should be able to find at around $20 to $25 per bottle. VIETTI is a high quality producer from Piedmont, Italy. Its single vineyard Barolos are very well known and very high quality and sell for much more than the $25 price point. But this Barbera is one that they make in very high quantities of around 35,000 bottles or so per year. It's a well-balanced dry wine with bright fruit flavors of blackberry and dark cherry. It has ample acidity and soft tannins. It's an excellent food-friendly wine and one that you cannot go wrong buying at this price point. My second favorite wine at the $25 price point is the DAOU PASO ROBLES Cabernet Sauvignon. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to find Napa Valley Cabernet at the $25 or less price point. However, if you go to PASO ROBLES, you're able to find this excellent wine from DAOU. This is a Bordeaux blend. It's dominant in Cabernet Sauvignon, but it does feature some Merlot, Petit Verdot, and Cabernet Franc. It's a very consistent wine that's highly regarded by critics year in and year out and often receives between 90 and 92 points. It's definitely a compelling value at the $20 to $25 price point, and I found it at one retailer for $22 a bottle. My third favorite wine at the $25 price point is the López de Heredia Vino Cubillo Tinto Crianza. This is a Tempranillo-based wine from Rioja, Spain. The wine comes from the youngest vines of this producer, but for this legendary producer, that means that the vines still have an average age of 40 years, which is certainly very impressive. This wine ages for 2 years in used American oak and then another 2 years in bottle before it is released. That's certainly very impressive aging for a Crianza. This wine has bright fruit and more acidity than many Crianzas. It's fresh, floral, and refined. A very impressive wine at this price point and one that I enjoy more than many Grand Reservas from other producers. Certainly one that I highly recommend. My fourth favorite wine at the $25 price point is the PRODUTTORI LANGHE NEBBIOLO. PRODUTTORI is a high-quality cooperative that's based in Barbaresco in Italy. They ensure quality by requiring their members to sell them 100% of their fruit and also by paying the members for the fruit based on quality and reassessing those prices every single vintage. Every year they produce a flagship Barbaresco that I featured in my favorite wines at $50 or less. But the younger vines are used to produce a Langhe Nebbiolo of high quality that sells for $25 or less. This is absolutely one of my favorites at this price point and offers compelling quality at this price. It's ready to enjoy immediately, but you could certainly age it 5 to 8 years or so. It features flavors and aromas of red berries, roses, crushed rocks, licorice. It also has some tannins and certainly ample acidity. It's simply a fantastic buy at $25 or less. And while I'm at it, Langhe Nebbiolo is such an excellent source of value that I'm going to give you one more name, which is my fifth favorite wine for $25 or less. And that is the PAOLO SCAVINO Langhe Nebbiolo, which you can also find at that price point. This is another wine that offers compelling value year in and year out. You just can't go wrong with Langhe Nebbiolo from top producers. That's especially true if you're like me and you have lots of Barolos and Barbarescos that you've been purchasing that still require substantial aging. So for these wines, these Langhe Nebbiolos can act as cellar defenders and allow you to get your Nebbiolo fix while still keeping your hands off your Barolos and Barbarescos and letting those continue to improve and gain complexity with age. My sixth favorite wine at the $25 price point is the El Enemigo Cabernet Franc. El Enemigo is a top producer from Mendoza, Argentina, and while they certainly do have an outstanding Malbec, it is this Cabernet Franc that is one of my favorite wines at the $25 price point. It does feature a touch of Malbec, about 8% or so. It's generally around 90-92% Cabernet Franc. There's about about 25,000 bottles or so produced each year, so it is made in abundant quantity. It's well balanced, vibrant, and expressive. They use some whole berry fermentation, and they age the wine in large old oak casks so that the wine is not overly oaky. This helps to allow the fruit to shine, and it controls the tannins. A very enjoyable wine, and one that I definitely recommend at this price point. My seventh favorite wine at the $25 price point is the Domane Wachau Federspiel Terrassen Gruner Veltliner. When I visited Austria a few years ago, I expected I would like the dry Rieslings the most, since I'm a big Riesling fan. To my surprise, however, it was the Gruner Veltliner that was the most impressive and that I found myself ordering most frequently at restaurants. It's incredibly food-friendly and one that pairs well with a number of foods, including vegetables. This produces a cooperative that's known for its very high quality. The Terrassen wines are made from a number of plots that have soils that are too rocky and low yielding for them to produce a single vineyard wine from those little plots. And so what they do is they harvest all these grapes and they pool them together and make the Terrassen wines. These Terrassen wines are very reflective of the rocky soils and have impressive complexity. This is a very dry white wine with racy acidity. It features flavors and aromas of peach, apricot, blossom, and lychee. It's an absolute steal for $15 to $20, which is where I found it online. It features much more character and quality than many white wines that cost double or even more. I cannot recommend this one highly enough. My eighth favorite wine for $25 or less is another white wine. This time it's the Kumeu River Village Chardonnay from Auckland, New Zealand. This is one that consistently sells for $25 or less year in and year out and is highly acclaimed every year. Many people incorrectly blind taste these Chardonnays as white Burgundy. This producer also makes single vineyard wines of exceptional quality for around $40 to $45, but you can get this village wine for $25 or less. It's certainly an excellent wine in its own right and offers compelling value year in and year out. My ninth favorite wine at about $25 a bottle is the Bodega Numanthia Termes. I found this wine for $24, but certainly you can find it for much more than that. So for this one, you really need to shop around because this one tended to have the biggest swing in pricing. This is a Tempranillo from Toros, Spain, but it's going to be much more robust, intense, and concentrated than the Lopez de Heredia wine that we talked about earlier from Rioja. This one is about 15% ABV, so this is for people who like bold, robust wines. This wine features flavors and aromas of red cherry and red plum. There's lots of spice and espresso from the oak influence. I had this one with a burger one time off a By the Glass list, and it paired incredibly well. So don't hesitate to give this one a shot if you like big, bold, robust wines. Now, before I give you my bonus wine, I'm going to give you wine number 10. My 10th favorite wine at about $25 or so is the BEDROCK Old Vines ZINFANDEL. This is one you can actually get for $20 a bottle if you go direct from the winery, or you can find it in retail for about $25. BEDROCK is a producer that's known for preserving some of the old vineyards and ancient vineyards in California, many of which are 100 years or so old. BEDROCK produces a number of different single vineyard wines from each of these old vineyards. This wine is made from some of the grapes that do not make it into those single vineyard bottlings. It's always a dominant Zinfandel blend, but it often includes other grapes as well, such as Carignan, Grenache, Mataro, and some others. Just a quick bonus about BEDROCK. They also have a North Coast Syrah that I really enjoy as well, and that's also about the $20 price point. You definitely can't go wrong with either one of these wines for that price. And now for the bonus wine that I often find for $12 to $15. This wine is the GUIGAL Côte de Rhône. GUIGAL, of course, is one of my favorite producers. I especially enjoy their Northern Rhône wines, but they make an exceptional Côte de Rhône that you can find for as little as $12 to $15, sometimes even less if you shop around. This wine consistently scores in the 90 to 92 point range, sometimes even a bit higher in strong vintages. And of course, the Southern Rhône is so consistently outstanding in terms of weather that it's really difficult for them to have a really bad off vintage, and that hardly ever occurs. This one is made in incredibly high quantity, and in fact, they make millions of bottles of it each year, so you should definitely be able to find it no matter where you're located. It's definitely one to buy in bulk, and it's perfect for parties or large gatherings where you're providing the wine. If you're interested in some of my recommendations at the $50 price point, be sure to check out this video that's linked above.